I want to kind of introduce you and your podcast and your show, Jordan, to our audience, just so they can kind of get a feel for what you guys are about. I'm a big fan of Gamer Friends, and I feel like your show is pretty similar to ours in that you're a couple of friends who really love video games. You talk about the games that you play, and you release an episode every 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, every 2 weeks, capitalism permitting. Right now we're late on an episode, but it'll come out eventually.
Fair enough. And yeah, you talk about games you're playing, talk about gaming news. You'll get into nerd culture stuff like we do. Tell the audience, what you're about, what can they expect, anything you think might be interesting. Just introduce us to the Gamer Friends.
Yeah, I very much appreciate the opportunity to do that. I appreciate how we came to know each other too. Gamer Friends started really just as an opportunity for us to tell really cool gaming stories. Mm-hmm. We haven't done one of those recently. One has been in the works for a long time, and as soon as we release that, we're gonna get back to that being a habit. But the goal was to produce content that was about communities within gaming that are just really interesting and cool to us, and not just a show where we're talking about gaming and what's going on and nerd stuff, but also really making less obvious things about the community and the way that gamer culture has become part of broader culture, and really bringing that to the forefront and having folks who wouldn't really call themselves gamers recognize the ways that gaming actually has played a role in their lives and that it can be accessible to them. So all that to say, we really just wanted to have a good time with it. It is kind of like a stress reliever for us to do the show. It was a way for us to bond also. And so the whole thing is really just about relationships. And I appreciate that we've been able to build that brand and actually have it work. You came to us because of a guest that we had on the show that said something that was thought-provoking to you, and you interacted with us, and then we had a dialogue, and now I'm here. And I just love that about how this hobby brings all these different people together to have these kinds of conversations. I really love that. It's, I think, why I want to keep gaming until I'm older, because it is so much how I relax. It's also my main social vehicle. Most of my friends are playing games with me almost every single day. It's just a huge part of my life and how I connect to people. And the idea of like neckbeards who don't interact with everyone is just not what all of this is about. And it doesn't have to be like that. Mm-hmm. And Gamer Friends is about shedding a light on that part of what gaming is.
I love that. And great. There's a lot of stuff that you said there that I think Derrick and I would echo. Both of us kind of use the show to relax. We bond over the show. And we definitely are those neckbeards, though. Like, both of us shy away from online games. I noticed that the two of you have a robust community of gamer friends, and I envy this, that you play Division, you play Apex, you play Destiny, you play a lot of games that are online with other people. And I'm constantly struggling to get Derrick to come online with me. But again, I'm kind of, I don't know what you would call agoraphobic for online. How do you like
sane?
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah, because
the early internet was not a nice place.
No. I mean, in my 20s, I was on Xbox Live all the time. I was playing Gears, and I was constantly being called all kinds of words I don't want to repeat here for the sake of decency. But, like you said, there's a community that you can build, and if you have that, it becomes so much more. It becomes a way to socialize and connect with people. And I love that your show features that. In fact, one of my favorite guests on your show, I don't remember her name, but there was a woman you had on who was talking about, what's that indie game where you ferry people in the afterlife?
Spiritfarer.
Thank you. Yeah. Spiritfarer. She was talking about Spiritfarer, and you were asking her about some more, robust or traditional or hardcore games. She's like, I don't know. I tried this, couldn't get into it. But she wasn't what you would think of as a traditional gamer, but she is a gamer. And like you said, she had that different perspective. And that's why I love so much about your guys' show is I don't have a ton of gaming podcasts I listen to. Like, I listen to Podquisition, which inspired this show, and I listen to Waypoints because Geeta got on there after she left Kotaku, and I like her. I follow her. But you guys bring that extra perspective that I don't think about. And like you said, I was speaking with one of your guests recently about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he was challenging me on some of the more controversial points of the show, and that it was thought provoking. And then I listened to your guys' podcast episode about the spoiler cast about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it really just helped me rethink the way that I view media and how it can sometimes be used as propaganda for the military or for centrism. And it didn't make me like it any less, but it did make me look at it through a different lens and take it with a grain of salt, because I feel like so often media has this pernicious way of getting under our skin and getting into our head, and then pretty soon it does adjust the way that we think. And unfortunately, most media is put out by people who are very rich and very conservative, and they have very different goals from the rest of us. So to be able to take a step back and have that lens is important, and I appreciate what you guys are doing for people with that. So,
well, I am blushing as much as I can.
I like your show too.
Derek's like, I like your show.
I like your show too. It made me laugh.
Don't worry, Derek. I've had weeks to think about this. So, like I said,
Yeah,
this is as far back as when Falcon and Winter Soldier was still airing.